Hi, it's Jack again. And in this segment, I want you to get totally clear about core desires. I talked about them a little bit, but now I want you to really understand their importance in detail, because it's time for you to completely understand what their value is to you and how to identify yours. If they're that crucial, and they are the switch to your core or to your conquering force, you need to know. So here we go. A core desire is something you want with all your heart, not half your heart. If you want it so badly it pierces you to the very core of your being. A core desire is never something you're half-hearted about. Half-hearted doesn't cut it. Three-quarters hearted doesn't cut it. 9/10 hearted doesn't cut it. Only wholehearted. You want your daughter to marry somebody that's wholeheartedly in love with her. And you want your son to marry a woman that loves him wholeheartedly. And you want an employee that works for you wholeheartedly. And you want to go into business wholeheartedly. Wholehearted is the only thing that matters. Listen to what Robert Collier has to say about this subject. He gives us a clue as to how important it is. He says, and I quote, "Very few people know how to desire with sufficient intensity. They don't know what it is to feel and manifest that intense longing, that craving, that insistent, demanding, ravenous desire which is akin to the persistent, insistent, overwhelming desire of the drowning man for a breath of air, or the famished man for food." When you want something that bad, that's what a core desire looks like. Oh, that would be nice. Would you like to have a new car? Yeah, that'd be nice. That's not a core desire. If someone invites you to go to a Chinese restaurant and you don't really want to go, but you don't want to hurt their feelings, so you say, oh, okay, I'll go. And you go along to keep the peace. The core desire is to keep the peace, not the Chinese restaurant. You can hear it in my voice. It's just not very high on my want-to-do list. I roll my eyes and go, oh, yeah, okay. Well, that's not something you should be engaged in. Somebody asks me to go to bowling or go to a restaurant. I say, I can instantly measure it. That's an 80. I don't do 80s. I'll tell you about that score in just a second, on how, in one of the segments, how to measure on a scale from 1 to 100. So, a desire of 75, not going to cut it. On a scale from 1 to 100, it's not going to cut it. 50% is half-hearted. That's only 3/4 of your heart. If it's 75, 3/4 of your heart's not good enough. 90% of your heart's not good enough. That's not a core desire. Only wholehearted is. A half-hearted lover or spouse, no good. Half-hearted salesman, no good. Half-hearted team, no good. Wholehearted. Core desires at 100 on a scale from 1 to 100. That's wholehearted. On a scale from 1 to 100, hundreds are what you're going to get. 50s, maybe, maybe not, probably not. You might poke a stick at it, but you're only going to enjoy life if you're focusing on and getting, and in the process of getting, your core desires. Don't settle for anything less than hundreds. Make sure your heart is set on whatever it is you're going to learn or do or become. Make sure it's at 100. Otherwise, you're going to waste your time. You're going to spend money. You might even get the degree. You might even get the skill, but you don't enjoy it. I call that heart set versus mindset. Everybody knows you've got to have the right mindset. Well, heart set should win out. What's your heart set on? Like the Richter scale on how they measure earthquakes, where each number is 10 times greater in power and devastation than the previous one. So a 5 on the Richter scale is pretty bad. It'll rattle buildings. It can even knock down some walls. But 6 is 10 times greater, and it'll destroy homes. 7, cities. 8, we are in trouble. So it is with core desires. Every number is 10 times greater than the other. So when you're at 99, it's not enough. Hundreds is what it takes. That's where the switch to your core desire, to your conquering force is. Confucius, the renowned Chinese philosopher, said, "Wherever you go, go with all your heart." Duh, that's been taught a long time, hundreds and hundreds of years. Now I want you to do something. When you're through listening to this segment, I want you to go to this website and watch a very short 2.5-minute movie. I didn't create the movie, but it's a fantastic movie. It's called www.212movie, 212movie, 212movie.com, www.212movie.com. Watch that. It's talking about the difference between 212 degrees versus 211. 1 degree makes a big difference. So when you're determining your core desires, it's hard to do, which is why my book and my CDs are so popular. And I'm the only one teaching you how to do that. So in these segments that are coming soon, I'll show you exactly how to do it. I cannot do it in this segment. I have to set you up for it, but I'm going to do it soon. The idea of following your heart is not a new concept. Love what you do, follow your bliss has been taught for a long time. But until I came along, there was no way to identify what you want. And many people find that very hard. And by many, I mean 97%. Norman Vincent Peale said in a cutesy way, throw your heart over the fence and your body will follow. No doubt. So, how do you find out what they are? Hang on, that's coming in the next segment. I strongly feel that I need to drive home just how important, even crucial, core desires are. You have to identify them so they flip on your switch, the conquering force, so you overcome barriers and obstacles and get them. There are fantastic motives for learning how to discover and figure out with all your heart what your heart longs for, so your hand will reach for it and never give up. Having your core desires or being in the process of achieving them is the greatest source of happiness and joy that exists anywhere. You're happy, even if it's hard, even if it's expensive, even if it's risky. You're having fun. It's how you maximize your joy in life. And I'll say this once more. They unleash your conquering force. You got to know what they are. You want to get more money? If it's a core desire, you'll find a way to do it. Somebody will teach you. Core desire gives you stamina, enthusiasm, commitment, and discipline. I know. Let me show you what I mean. I know it's hard to have discipline for some things. Well, where do you get it if you don't have it? Core desires. Discipline comes from the root word disciple. And a disciple is someone who willingly follows somebody like Jesus Christ or Gandhi or even bad guys like Hitler. And a disciple will willingly follow a health or exercise regimen. Willing is the operative word. When you're willing, you're a disciple. And so when you're willing, your heart's in it. If your heart's in it, the discipline is automatic. It's the same thing with enthusiasm. Well, where do you get more enthusiasm if you need it? Enthusiasm comes from the Greek word enthusios, which means breath of life, which is what God did when he breathed life into Adam in the Garden of Eden. So when you have something you're enjoying, you've breathed life into it and you enjoy it. It has a life of its own. Try being enthusiastic about something you don't like. You can't. So core desires give you discipline, enthusiasm, and persistence. All of that comes automatically. Core desires can do this and do all of it. You say, can they really? Absolutely they can. Guaranteed. You've already proven it in your life. The next few segments will show you exactly how to identify your core desires. And I'll have some real life examples and stories on how it's done and demonstrated very clearly. Stay tuned.